No, I'm good.
Okay.
Right, we're live. I'm here with Daniel Hayward.
Hi.
We're in the Mayflower Theatre in Southampton in a small wooden box. It's like a little garden shed.
Yeah.
I can't even stand up properly. And he's doing Dreamgirls.
Yes.
And you've just told me you've been doing this for a year nearly.
Yeah, I started in rehearsals on it in November in London. We were there for a month in November last year. So it's going to be... Yeah, it's over a year now, actually.
So you did the show in London and then you brought it all around the country?
No, I didn't do London. So we had rehearsals in London for 4 weeks.
Rehearsals in London, not the show in London.
And then the tour went out. So I think the show in London finished a couple of years ago. So this was a couple of years after that had ended, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I looked at your Facebook page and you've done lots of shows.
Yeah.
You've done this for a while.
I've been lucky. I've been lucky to go from show to show. But yeah, it's been great.
But that's not luck though, is it? That's obviously doing your job properly.
Maybe.
Otherwise you wouldn't get to the end of the first week, would you?
I hope so.
Yeah, I find this job, I've sat in with a couple of guys as we discussed just now, you're Tim Goodyear, Matt Whittington.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind. I'm a completely self-taught drummer. I don't read a note. And I see what you guys are doing here and it fascinates me. Because I sat in with Tim Goodyear on Hamilton and it's like, you have to play it note perfect every night. And there's not a lot of room for...
No,
putting in fills that you've just learned,
on some shows it's like that. I've been really lucky in the shows I've done in a sense that MDs and supervisors have been quite. I haven't got complete free reign, obviously,
right.
But they've been quite flexible in terms of allowing me to do some stuff, and it's been great.
And you did say this show particularly is quite free with what you can do.
This is great. I mean, within reason, within musical reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been really great from the start. I think the nature of the music of this show, it's all kind of soul stuff. Basically like a really, 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 really good function gig with MD.
Fantastic.
And a click and loads of other stuff. But because of the way the music is, it kind of gives us a bit more flexibility in terms of fills and things. It doesn't necessarily have to be as rigid.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a really, really good one. It's a really good play. And the band are great as well, which helps.
Do you know most of the guys from other shows? Have you played with them before?
So... The only people I've played with before on this show were Nathan on saxophone. I did Hairspray with him. Brian on guitar. I've done about 3 or 4 different things with him. Evita, Joseph. Evita and Joseph in this.
Okay.
And Hairspray actually. So 4 with Brian on guitar.
Okay.
But the rest of the guys I hadn't really worked with before. But they're great. Everyone's really good, especially Rachel on bass is phenomenal. You'll hear she's absolutely ridiculous.
Great, I look forward to that. So is this your kit, or is this supplied to you for the show?
No, this is mine. So this is it's a Liberty kit. I got it in 2016.
Okay.
I went and had a chat with Andrew at the factory, and we kind of came up with this. So it's a bit. For use of a better word, it's a bit battered because it's been in and out of lorries and stuff.
Of course. So what have we got? A 10, 12, 14, 20?
10, 12, 14, 20 and a 14 by 6.5 snare. The toms and the bass drum are made of a blend of elm burr and mahogany.
Right.
No, birch and mahogany, sorry.
Okay, nice.
And then the snare is a blend of elm burr and birch. So it's kind of... When I kind of had a chat to Andrew, I think I said something like, "Can I just sound like Chris Coleman, please?"
Okay. And do you?
And it not playing wise.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully the kit does.
That's all right.
But yeah, so it's really cool. It's got like loads of attack because of the birch.
Okay.
But it's also got loads of like warmth to it as well.
Great.
Because of the mahogany side of it.
Okay.
But yeah, they're great. I mean, I've just kind of, the start of this tour, I started using the UV2s.
Yep. So I'm
and
going to ask you about those. You've got UV2s and 0 rings.
Yes.
So it's quite a damped sound.
It is. It doesn't sound like it through the system in the ears.
Okay.
But in here it does. But I think the more control I can get from this end, the easier it is for them out front.
Of course, They're not fighting against all kinds of weird overtones.
Yeah, exactly. And also like the nature of the music, it kind of needs a bit of that as well.
Yeah.
I think, in my little opinion anyway.
Sure.
But it's been
got a
great.
selection of look like Sabian cymbals to me.
Yes, apart from the splash, because I smashed the Sabian splash I had to bits.
Okay.
So I had to buy that Dream as an emergency.
Dream, okay.
But that's been great. These are 13-inch HHX stage hats, groove hats. Sorry.
Groove hats. Okay.
But I think they were 14s and they were cut down.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. But they sound great. Like they've got a really nice chick to them. They're really cool. That's an 18-inch Legacy.
Yep.
Which is great. An 18-inch Manhattan Jazz.
The one there in the dark. You just can't see that one.
A 20-inch HHX Groove Ride and an 18-inch Ozone, which is the best
Ozone
one in
here.
existence.
Great, and you can't see that one because it's really dark, and I'm going to be sat right next to that apparently.
Yeah, basically.
When you play the show.
Have you got in ears?
I have got in ears.
Right.
And you've got two little screens here. Again, this fascinates me about your job because you're sat in this little shed. You can't really see a lot, but you have got these two tiny little screens.
Yes.
One obviously for the conductor.
Yeah.
And one showing you the stage, I believe.
Yeah, so that screen at the back.
The top one.
At the minute, I can switch between having a view of the stage or having a view of Cameron on percussion, because that percussionist Cameron Lee's up on stage somewhere backstage.
Okay.
So he's up there.
Do you need to have a visual of him?
Not really.
Do you have plenty of him in your ears, or do you not have to?
Yeah, I have quite an even mix of everyone, really.
Okay.
Just so I can hear, because you need to be able to react with everything and help.
And is it all to click?
I'd say 75 to 80% of it is clicked.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's fine. In fact, one of the difficulties with this show is that the click isn't always. It doesn't necessarily give you like a 3-4 in.
Right.
There's quite a lot of the clicks that are in on the nose, so you need to be in on the tempo straight away with the click. There's cues there.
That's challenging.
There's another few of them where there's one in particular where you're playing at one tempo, and you've got a bar to switch up the tempo. But I think it's about 20 BPM to a new click.
Right.
Which again are both on the nose. So you've just got to make sure you know your tempos, basically.
They don't make it easy for you, do
no,
they?
No, they don't.
Can't they give you a couple of beats of click before that?
No, not at all. For some of them there are, but yeah, it's a good one though. Like I said, it just really helps when the band's on it and when the music's good as well. That's the thing. Especially when you're doing a show for this long, it helps.
And doing it this long, you're not reading it, no? Not
now, no. So I stopped using my pad. I kind of wasn't really using it anyway because I've been in rehearsals for so long, and then we started doing the show. I think it was 3 months into the actual tour, I think.
And you don't even have it there as a safety net in case you have a complete mind blank.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's actually really bad. But I went off book because I was using my iPad.
Right.
And my iPad broke just before the show, and I couldn't find the pad anywhere. And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure I know it. Let's just try it. But I did know it. I think by that point I was just using the pad as muscle memory. So I was just turning the pages just because that was where I'd always turn the page. So I didn't actually look at the pad at all.
Right.
So yeah, it was okay. It sounds a lot worse than it was. I did know the show. But yeah. But it's cool, it's good, because I suppose you just kind of, you can have a look around and kind of treat it like a gig.
So by doing this show for nearly a year, and for most of that time you're not reading it, obviously you're not practicing your reading, so when you go to your next show, will your reading still be as good, or does it drop off quite quickly if you're not doing it regularly? In fact, that's one of the weird things I had at the start, when I very first started touring. I was doing a show called Avenue Q, it was my first tour, which is amazing, and I hadn't read anything for about 2 months, and I went back to do another gig, and I could still read, but there was that little niggling doubt there that was like, oh, hang on, I'm not sure if I can do this anymore. Right.
So I think you do need to keep, as with everything, you need to kind of keep up on it, basically. Yeah. So I try, if I have something else in, obviously I'll go and read the gig and I'll prep it and stuff and make sure that it's there by reading and stuff. So, but yeah, it is something that can slip if you're not doing it very often.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you've been doing the show for nearly a year. It ends in January.
Yes.
And then you hopefully go and get another show somewhere.
Yeah, there's a few things in the pipeline. To be honest, I've been touring for 6 years, so a bit of a break would be nice.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just going to wait and see what happens.
Do you do anything else? Do you teach? Do you do any sessions? Do you do any of that stuff?
I used to do a load of that, but obviously touring isn't really conducive with that too much. So yeah, when I'm off the road, I'm lucky in that I've got a load of people I used to play for who will hopefully kind of fire some stuff my way when we finish and stuff, which have in the past when we've come off tour and I've had a little break.
Okay.
It's been nice.
Are you always in touring shows, or have you done anything in the West End?
I've done a few little contracts in town. So I did Evita, was my first one. That was just a 3-month run at the Phoenix.
Right.
And then I did, I was depping on American Idiot, the musical one that was in town. I depped a couple of times on that and on the tour. See,
now depping does sound like the scariest thing in the world.
Oh, it's atrocious.
Because you've got to walk in there and you've got to nail it.
It's awful.
And yeah, that's pressure.
It's awful. American Idiot especially, because again there was one where you're like playing one speed, you've got a drum solo effectively for about 2 minutes, and you've got to build up to the click on another tempo that's in on the nose again. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. But yeah, it's I think you just kind of if you're doing that regularly, it's just something that you get used to, I suppose. But you still get, I still get nervous and things and with that kind of thing, because it's a different type of pressure then going in as a dep. If it's your own show like this, it's great and it's fine and you know what to expect. But yeah, I do enjoy it though. I really enjoy the depping side of things.
Yeah. And so doing a show like this, you've done it for a year. Is it a case you can just literally just play it without too much thought?
Yeah, you still need to watch and things, obviously, and do all that kind of. But there is obviously, when you've done anything for that long, there's still the autopilot thing kicks in every now and then. You've just got to kind of try and stay switched on. And
quite often when I've sat in with people, I've only done it 2 or 3 times, I'm amazed that they'll be texting their mates in between songs and reading books, and I'm like, how can you be that relaxed? And that blows my mind.
I think you just get used to the situation, don't you?
And you know how long you've got when you're next in for a track.
Yeah, exactly. I think I remember one bit on Avita, we used to have like 8 minutes. I think it was something like 8 minutes and 36 seconds. I wrote in the pad that we had off.
Wow.
So yeah.
Did you use that time to do anything, or did you just sit there?
Just sit there, basically.
Right.
I mean,
So you're not texting your mates?
No. Well, maybe.
I've seen a couple of those. I actually went to New York and sat in with Carter McLean on The Lion King, because he did a clinic for us.
Oh my God.
Haley and I took the family to New York, and he said, yeah, come and sit in. And he told me he'd done the show 14,000 times.
Oh my God.
But to me, that's incomprehensible.
That's insane.
To play it the same. And he said, you have to play it right, you have to play it a certain way.
Yeah.
And it was mind-boggling to watch. But he said he's been doing this for X number of years.
Yeah, I think you just get used to it. I think, but it's still, if the show's good and it's a good play, then that can be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, with mine, I've been really lucky. Like I did, before this was Hairspray, that was a great play. Before that was On Your Feet, which was a Gloria Estefan thing. We actually had one of the guys from the Miami Sound Machine in the band in London.
Wow.
Clay was the MD. He's ridiculous. And Gloria was in rehearsals with us.
Can I open this? I just need to stand up.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Killing me.
Go for it. Yeah.
Right.
So I've been lucky in a sense that the shows I've done have enabled me to kind of have a bit more freedom.
Right.
But saying that, Avita was literally, there was one bar that I had a drum fill in that I could change about in the whole show.
Crazy.
Yeah, I've been really lucky with the ones I've had.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to this. Are we going to find something to sit on? If I got Neil?
There's a chair over there. I'm going to go over for you now.
You start at 1:30.
What time is it now?
1:15.
Oh, cool.
Have you got to go and warm up or anything, or do you have to?
No, I'm quite bad at that actually.
Just go straight into it, yeah?
Yeah, I have a bit of a fumble around for a bit before we start and get my hands warmed up a bit and that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
And congratulations on being such a busy working drummer.
Oh, thank you.
It's the dream, isn't it, to make a living playing drums? And
it really is.
It's really good that you've been doing it for so long.
Oh,
so I'm looking forward to hearing the show. I don't think I'll see much of it down here, but I'm going to hear you playing it. It'll be very exciting. And my wife's up in the audience, so she's going to love it because it's one of her favourite shows. So yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
And if you've got any time, come into the shop and say hello and have a coffee.
Yes.
You're down to what, the end of the week?
Yeah, definitely.
We're only about half an hour away, so if you're bored and you want to come and talk drums, pop in and see us.
Oh, yes.
Although I won't be there because I'm going away for the weekend. So
cool.
it's my birthday on Friday, so
happy
birthday to me. Thank you, Daniel.
No problem.
I hope we'll speak again very soon. And if you're down with any other shows, please let me know and we'll do this again.
I will.
I'm going to leave you to get ready. Cheers. See you soon.
See you in a bit.